Alpha Titan. Chapter 1.
Ouch, Buffy said as the pin pricked her finger instead of going through her hair. She stared at herself in the mirror. She needed to look perfect for tonight.
Tonight's the night, she said to herself in the mirror.
The purple moon ball. It was more of a party than an actual ball. Jamie was the oldest son of the current Alpha. They had gone out throughout high school, and now he was going to choose Buffy as his mate. The ball was an opportunity for the Alphas to announce their intended mates to the pack. Her heart was thundering in her chest. Her hands were sweating. She felt faint, but she wasn't going to let the anxiety ruin her night.
Come on, Buffy, hurry up.
Her brother pounded on her door. She scrawled. He didn't see that she was trying to pull herself together. She walked out of her room and discovered her soon-to-be mate in the living room, talking to her parents. Buffy's family was well respected in the pack. Her parents were betas, and her brother was poised to be beta in Jamie's regime. Buffy rushed into his arms and squeezed him.
All right, we don't need to see this.
Her brother groaned playfully. Buffy blushed and pulled back.
Don't be jealous, Sky.
Her parents laughed softly. Everyone knew Jamie was going to take Buffy as his mate, the next Luna of the pack. A great honor.
All right, you kids have fun. We'll meet you guys there.
Jamie nodded and draped his arm around his girlfriend's shoulders. They walked out. The venue wasn't far, so they decided to walk. It would afford them a moment of privacy before they were the center of attention. Buffy pulled closer to Jamie, and he laughed softly, almost nervously.
Nervous? Of course not. Everything's going to go perfectly for what happens after tonight. I'm more than nervous.
She blushed. Jamie stopped and cupped her cheeks. A wolfish grin spread on his face.
Are you having second thoughts about that?
She shook her head and leaned into his touch. There wasn't another man she would imagine giving her virginity to other than Jamie.
You know I'll be gentle, you know that.
He ran his nose down her neck and growled. She shivered, and the wolf inside her yearned to be caressed and united with its chosen mate. They walked the rest of the way to the ball. Just like at her house, she noticed a glimpse of nerves in Jamie. He pulled away from her and put some distance between them. Buffy shrugged it off. Maybe he didn't want to show a lovey-dovey displace before the announcement.
Great! My son has arrived. Jamie, it is time to present to the pack your mate and their next Luna.
Jamie's mother said to the crowd and her son. Jamie froze.
So soon?
He grumbled.
Go on!
Buffy urged. Jamie gave her a pained look which she didn't understand. The moon seeped from a hole in the ceiling and formed a light blue spotlight on the stage. The couple would stand in the circle, and their bond would be blessed and sealed by the moon goddess's power. Jamie rolled his shoulders back and walked to the stage. He scanned the crowd of nearly 200 shifters. His eyes went dark. The crowd went silent, eagerly waiting for Jamie to speak.
Jennifer, he announced.
The crowd erupted into murmurs and gasps.
What? Buffy gasped.
A woman in a white gown walked up to the stage. She had different colored flowers planted in her sandy blonde hair. Buffy felt faint. She felt like bile was rising to her throat. The girl, Jennifer, took Jamie's hands and stared into his eyes.
Buffy, what the hell?
Sky appeared next to her and asked. Buffy couldn't speak. All she could do was stare at her man, and another woman joined a powerful bond, a bond that was supposed to be hers.
I, Jamie, next Alpha of the Purple Pack, take you, Jennifer, as my mate. Do you accept?
Jamie asked. Jennifer's acceptance speech was a blur. Their kiss to seal their fate was like a knife to the heart. Buffy ran out of the party. She was a laughingstock. She couldn't shake the eyes staring at her as she raced out. Her brother called her name, but all she did was run. She felt her wolf shatter and weaken during the run home. It was heartbroken. A shattered wolf could take years to heal. He rejected her after all these years.
That bastard!
Buffy screamed as she landed on her bed. Angry tears rolled down her face and sobs escaped her. She hated him with every fiber of her being. She didn't even want to see him. She couldn't, without pieces of her heart peeling away.
Buffy, honey, you have to get up.
Buffy's mom Helen said. Her parents and brother all crammed into her room. It had been days since Buffy got up. All she wanted was to wallow in her own misery. Where on earth had Jamie even found that woman?
I feel sick, Mom,
Buffy said.
Of course you feel sick. You haven't eaten in days. Honey, she just lost her intended maid. Her wolf needs time to heal.
Her father, Victor, said.
Well, honey, what do you want to do?
Helen asked. She never wanted to see Jamie again. She wanted to be free and heal from this embarrassment and shame. She wasn't going to accomplish that in her bedroom. She sat up and stared at her small family.
I want to leave for a while. I can't stay here. I can't watch him parade around with his new mate.
Her parents nodded.
Your grandparents are going to miss you, but I think it's a good idea.
Victor said.
I want to go to your pack, Mom. I'll stay with Aunt Jackie.
Helen nodded. It was settled. Buffy would leave her pack in hopes of healing the nasty wound she had, or else she would die from a bleeding heart.
Chapter 2.
1 year later, Buffy hiked up her duffel bag and breathed in the familiar air. A year away from the purple pack was not nearly enough, but she missed her family. The bus rolled away to reveal a deserted shopping mall. She frowned. This place was always busy. She hadn't called anyone to pick her up as she wanted it to be a surprise. Buffy had been the only one on the bus. Purple Pack wasn't the ideal tourist attraction, but she expected other people on the bus. When she got to her neighborhood, she dropped her duffel bag and her jaw hit the floor.
What the hell?
Buffy said in a shock. The houses that once were surrounded by white picket fences were now burned to their bones. The lawns were charred and the trees were broken and black. Buffy rushed to her house. The roof had caved in. The whole neighborhood was uninhabitable.
No, no, Buffy said, crying.
Buffy broke down at the doorway. She couldn't even walk in the house. It smelt badly of smoke. Where would she find her family now? She picked up her bag and tried another place. She walked to the town square and from a distance saw people moving around, mostly large men dressed in all black.
Get back.
Buffy stumbled back, dropping her bag.
What the hell? She blasted. Buffy, you shouldn't have come.
Sky, her brother, blasted. He took her arm and led her away from the square as fast as he could.
What on earth happened here? Why are you back? You should have stayed in Kansas.
They ended up in the town where all the stores and restaurants used to be. Now it was a cold, abandoned area with tumbleweeds rolling by.
I missed home. Dad never mentioned any of this. He said everything was fine.
Sky led her through a narrow corridor and darkness fell on them.
He lied to protect you,
Sky said. Buffy noticed the marks and scars on her brother's arms. Sky wasn't the same. Sky opened a door that descended into the ground. It was dark too. Were they in hiding? Buffy wondered. When they came to light, she realized her grandparents and father were all sitting in a shoebox-type room.
Buffy?
Her grandmother's frail voice asked. Victor shot to his feet instantly. Buffy noticed a notable absence.
Where's Mom? She demanded. Buffy, your mother, she didn't make it, he said sadly.
Buffy broke down. She couldn't keep herself standing as she fell, and the wall protecting the tears came crashing down. She didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. She wasn't prepared to lose her mother. She would never have left if she knew this was going to happen.
Can someone tell me how the hell this happened? Buffy demanded. Our pack was ambushed by another powerful pack. We held them off, but ultimately they won. They destroyed everything. Mom was killed when they first attacked. What? What about...
She almost asked what happened to Jamie, but she wasn't ready to go there yet.
They torched the place? Most of the packs, they are a ruthless pack, Buffy. I didn't want you to find out. We have to remain in hiding because of our alliance with the former Alpha.
Buffy frowned.
Sky, you're not a beta anymore.
Sky folded his arms and looked away.
I won't stop fighting for my pack. I have to make sure our pack members are okay. I'll come with you,
Buffy offered.
No. You're going to stay here until we can figure a way to get you out. She was my mother too.
Buffy and Sky engaged in a heated staring contest. Sky walked out, letting the door slam behind him.
He was crazy if he thought he was fighting this alone.
Buffy thought.
He's right, you are not leaving this house.
Her grandfather said,
We can't afford to lose someone else.
Buffy sighed. She understood that it was hard for them, but she needed revenge. They had taken her mother. When it was dark and Sky hadn't returned, she slipped out the front door, careful not to make a sound. She needed to get a feel of what this new pack was like. Buffy learned this new pack was expanding to the west.
How long have they been here?
She muttered. She kept on exploring. She discovered the new pack liked nightlife. Lots of them hung out in bars and smoked out in the open. She didn't recognize anyone. Her heart started racing.
Time to leave, Buffy whispered. Where do you think you're off to in such a hurry?
A large hand shoved her back and she landed on her ass on the concrete.
Hey, Buffy yelled.
Suddenly, she was surrounded by 3 large shifters. They all glared down at her.
I haven't seen you around here. You smell like an outsider.
She remembered what her father said about them having to hide because of their connection to the former Alpha. She didn't want to get them in trouble, and she couldn't mention Sky either. She bit her bottom lip and just stared back.
You're a brave one, aren't you? Come to spy?
The blonde shifter spat.
Why would I? I'm from this pack, the real pack.
Buffy shot back. The one that shoved her to the ground picked her by her arm and dragged her along.
Where are you taking me?
She snapped, hammering her fist into his chest, but she barely hurt him.
To the Alpha, he barked.
After minutes of fighting in vain, they came to a large, menacing mansion that reached for the sky. It felt like a medieval castle owned by an evil king. She wondered what became of the old Alpha. This new one would surely kill her, or worse, lock her in the basement and make her his slave. That prompted her to fight and scream. She shouldn't have left the house.
Enough.
She was shoved to the ground for a second time.
What the fuck is going on?
A booming voice echoed in the courtyard where Buffy had been dumped. The beta glared at her as the owner of the deep voice marched into view. He was a tower of a man with rocks for muscles. His pale blue eyes held power to turn her skin to ice. His shirt clung to his bronze skin for dear life. His black hair was long and made into locks. He was like a medieval warrior with tattoos in a foreign language. Buffy couldn't take her eyes off him. Something inside her shifted, it changed. She almost couldn't recognize what was happening to her. She realized the Alpha had his eyes firmly on her too.
What the hell is this?
He asked his betas, but stared at Buffy.
She's part of the Resistance. What?
Buffy snapped out of it.
Get out of here.
The Alpha said in a low, threatening tone.
But Alpha, if I have to say it again, you lose your heads.
He looked at them for the first time and his eyes flashed red. The symbol of a wolf that had killed another wolf. They all scurried out. The Alpha picked her up with one hand and pulled her to his chest. His scent made her knees weak and she hated it.
Who the hell are you?
His tone was husky and low. Buffy didn't want to answer. She bit her bottom lip.
Why did you come here?
Her wolf awoke for the first time in a year because of the presence of impending danger. The Alpha let her go and cracked his knuckles. His eyes burned with the fire of hell. Alpha Titan towered over Buffy. He was a 6'2" mountain man made of darkness and shadows. How was she going to make it out alive?
Chapter 3. Buffy's POV.
Can't talk?
The Alpha asked.
I've got nothing nice to say.
Titan smirked.
What are you doing in my pack?
Alpha asked again.
Your pack? I spat,
lifting my body slightly off the ground. The betas growled and advanced, but Titan held his palm up. Fear shivered up my spine. They were all ruthless animals. If I didn't play the cards right, they would be picking my bones out of their teeth later.
This is my pack. I just wandered out of bounds.
I muttered and looked away.
You look like a strong little wolf. Why haven't I seen you in training?
The Alpha barked.
Training?
I searched my head for a response, but I only came out looking dumb.
She's probably with the Resistance,
one of the betas said.
No, I'm not. I lost my mother.
I hated to play this card, but I had to. If I wanted to survive Titan's pack. The Alpha wrapped his arms over his chest and nodded.
I'll expect you first thing in the morning for training.
Alpha said. I simply nodded and attempted to bolt out of there.
I'll have my eye on you.
The Alpha said. There was no play in his tone, only deep, menacing threat. My town was gone. Now I think I had just been roped into the new order of things. Sky wouldn't be happy about this, best to keep this to myself. The next morning, my grandparents and father were in the dining room having breakfast. I was still in my sleeping shorts and a tank top. My chestnut hair was in a messy bun on top of my head.
Morning sunshine,
Dad said.
Hey, where's Sky? He traveled to the west. What, he left? We tried to stop him, but your brother and a couple other wolves think they can save the pack,
Grandma said.
How could he just do that? I blasted. I told him things would be better. We don't have to be in hiding anymore. The new pack's settled in and I don't think we will have any problems with them.
Dad explained. I snared. How could he sound so cool with it? They killed Mom. I glanced at my wristwatch.
Shit.
I darted into my room and grabbed a pair of leggings.
I'm late.
I struggled into a black long-sleeve tank top. I went to the Alpha's castle and was told I was screwed because training started 30 minutes ago, at the clearing in the woods. I knew where that place was, but in the old pack we used it for teenage parties. When I arrived, I was starving and sweaty. What a way to make a good impression on, I scolded myself. Over 100 wolves covered the dry grass. Most of the trees had been chopped down to make more room. They stood in attention, facing a man with satin-like blonde hair with tattoos, similar to the ones on the Alpha. He glared at the wolves before him. Was it too late to run? I appeared at the back of the line behind a girl with a pink mohawk. My plan was to blend into the crowd. But suddenly someone grabbed my arm and slammed me against a hard chest.
You're late.
Alpha said.
No, I'm not.
I looked up into the icy blue eyes of my Alpha.
You think I'm stupid, Wolf? I just saw you. If you said it, it must be true. I rolled my eyes.
Gasps echoed throughout the woods. My eyes went wide. Did I just say that out loud? Titan tightened his grip on my arm. It felt like a twig in his meaty hand.
You've got some balls, don't you?
Alpha said, looking into my eyes.
I was late one time. I haven't missed the whole semester.
I defended myself.
Or you need to be broken in Wolf.
His words sent shivers up my spine. What did he mean? The teacher in front of the pack marched toward us. He bowed before his Alpha and glared at me.
What should we do with her?
The teacher asked.
I know what to do with her. Why get back to your class, Holden?
Alpha instructed the teacher. Holden, the teacher, nodded and marched off. I was screwed, wasn't I?
You can thank your new classmate for the extra 50 laps before dinner.
Holden said to all his trainees. Groans were shared among the crowd. Now I had enemies.
You've all got your partners?
Holden said.
Except you, little one.
Alpha Titan said close to my ear. Holden and Titan shared a deep but brief stare. Holden nodded. They could communicate telepathically.
We're going to scratch the combat exercise for today. Alpha Titan's going to give us a little demonstration.
Titan took my wrist and dragged me to the front of the class.
Are you going to humiliate me in front of the whole pack?
I said through gritted teeth.
That depends on you.
He replied. We got to a blue mat. Titan ripped his black shirt off, revealing his mystic tattoos. His locks draped over his shoulder. For a second, I wondered what it would look like if he stood in front of me naked.
You want me to fight you?
I asked.
If you want to live.
He said. Before I knew it, Titan had me on the floor. He charged and tripped me. The class burst into laughter. When Titan reached to pick me by my ankle, I kicked his wrist and rolled to the side. I saw him wince, but his pain didn't last long. He threw a punch that I blocked, but I felt like he broke a bone. I dunked under each punch, but didn't see his arms circle around my waist and then slam my delicate frame on the mat.
Had enough?
Titan raised his brow.
No.
I said, refusing my defeat. I jumped to my feet and threw identical punches to him, which he blocked effortlessly. Sweat trickled down my brow, but I wasn't ready to give up. I was fueled by hate. Titan wrapped his arm around my neck and tightened, before he locked his arm around my waist, keeping me in place.
Give up.
He insisted.
Never.
I said. He tightened his grip around my neck, cutting off my airway.
Still?
He asked again.
Fine.
I winced. He let go and I dropped to the mat. I glared at him. The class erupted into cheers. I'd hidden myself away in the changing room. I sat on a bench, toying with the ice pack. I couldn't do this every day.
Worst first day ever, I said to myself. Could have been worse,
A deep voice said. I looked up and Titan was leaning against the door frame.
Yeah, you could have killed me.
He shrugged.
You're pretty spirited. A spirit you're determined to break?
I tilted my head to the side. I saw something flash in his eyes. He emitted something that made my cheeks blush. It was lust.
I will break you. The question is if you're going to let me.
We stared at each other for what felt like hours. An unspoken challenge was declared between us. I wasn't about to lose to him.
Chapter 4.
Apparently, wolves here trained all day. I was going to leave when I heard there was a cafeteria here. I didn't think I was going to make it home without grabbing a bite to eat. I kept my head down and went to the cafeteria tent.
There she is. The girl of the hour.
The girl with the pink mohawk walked up to me with a bright smile on her face.
Was she going to kill me? Girl of the hour?
She nodded.
Of course. It isn't every day we get to be entertained.
Great, I was a laughingstock.
No one even talks back to Titan and you had the guts to actually punch him. That was pretty cool even though you lost.
A girl with thick black hair appeared next to the mohawk girl.
I kind of had no choice, I laughed nervously. True, but you did it without pissing your pants. Should count for something.
Mohawk girl said.
I thought everyone would hate me for the 50 laps.
I said,
Yeah, right. At least it's 50 laps and not 2 mountain treks.
The girl with the thick hair said.
Speak for yourself or Katrina. Those laps suck.
The mohawk girl grabbed her tray and walked off.
Come on,
Katrina said. I grabbed the tray of sandwiches and soup.
That's my sister Ivy. We're part of the new pack. Oh, the invaders? Word of advice. You might want to stay away from the West Wolves.
Ivy said. I followed her gaze to a group of rowdy-looking boys all draped in black clothing.
What's wrong with them?
I asked.
What isn't? They're trouble. Causing fights. Bad manners.
Katrina rolled her eyes.
They don't do well under authority, like Holden's been keeping them quiet, but they always manage to get out of hand.
One of them licked their teeth at me. My eyes went wide and I returned my attention to my food. They didn't need to tell me twice. I was staying away from the West Wolves. After an agonizing 50 laps, it was time to walk home. It was quiet as I walked past tents and small makeshift buildings. I caught Alpha Titan taking a stroll through the grass. He was shirtless. He had a massive tattoo of a gray wolf with blue eyes on his back. A serene-looking beast with the eyes of a human. Titan turned and our eyes locked for a second. That was when I realized I had been staring at him. I shook my head and walked away with my heart racing in my chest. I just wanted to get home.
Heard from Sky?
I asked my dad.
No, your brother is stubborn.
I mopped the kitchen while Dad did the dishes. He hated doing the dishes. Mom always did them for him.
Speaking of which, where were you yesterday? Or you were gone all day?
Dad asked.
Nowhere.
I said, trying to hide the lie.
For the whole day? Buff?
Dad raised his brows. Dad seemed cool with the idea of the new pack settling in, but I wasn't sure how he would feel about me settling into their beta army. I cringed.
Leave the girl alone, Martin. She was with a young wolf.
Grandma walked in and winked.
What? I gasped. What? Who?
Dad's brows knitted together.
Why don't you tell us, Buff?
Grandma beamed.
Wait, I know I was just like going around and taking in the new normal. I wasn't with a guy. No need to lie, Buffy Sue, you're 19 and Dad won't be mad.
Grandma said. I sighed and went back to moving the mop around.
No grandma, she no guy or no mate. You should have found one by now, Buffy.
Dad said. I rolled my eyes.
I'm sorry if I haven't been looking hard enough for a wolf to marry. That's not what Daddy means, honey, when your mate isn't found by 19. Well, the chances are slim you'll ever find him. Oh, crap.
Next day.
It was gym day. If I thought the running was bad, then I was in for a rough day. When I got to the makeshift guy, I was stopped by the door by a guy about my age. He held out a clipboard for me.
What's this for? Register, you have to sign it. I'm just going to the gym for goodness sake. Alpha Titan makes everyone sign it so he knows who didn't show up for gym. Then what happens when he finds out someone didn't show up for gym?
I asked.
You get cut out?
I swallowed the lump in my throat.
Really?
I took the pen from him.
Got to cut out the weak links, am right?
I frowned, and he smirked. He didn't look like a West Wolf. He was kind of cute with his dimples and his sandy blonde hair. I recalled what Grandma said about possibly not finding my wolf. That didn't mean I couldn't have a boyfriend, right? I shook the thoughts from my mind and signed the register. Now wasn't the time for romance. I walked in and dumped my bag close to a bench.
Where to start?
After running yesterday, I wasn't going with the treadmill. I found an empty mat and decided to do some stretches. I was such a klutz. I bumped into a girl from behind and made her drop the dumbbells she was carrying.
Hey, we could watch it.
She snapped.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I turned to face her and met a girl with tight curls and deep honey brown eyes.
Oh, do I know you, Wolf?
She snared.
Letitia? Yes, but... Oh my gosh, Buffy.
She gasped. She yanked me into her arms and squeezed me with the strength of the beta wolf she was.
I'm so sorry about your mom, Buff.
She let go. Everyone was staring at us. I took her arm and led her outside the tent. I didn't want anyone knowing my mother was killed because of their glorious alpha.
When did you get back? Should you even be here, with your parents being so closely tied to the last alpha? She asked worriedly. Well, I don't think anyone knows. I'd like to keep it that way.
Letitia nodded.
So what are you doing here? Are you spying for the resistance? Or? No. I had no choice. Now I'm stuck here.
She wrapped me in her arms again.
It's so good to have a familiar face here. Most of our friends left after the invasion. Is Jamie still around?
Letitia looked behind her and beside us.
Of course he is.
She hissed.